So you talked about the story. In an early interview with Dave, I read that there will be a lot of cutscenes, a very cinematic presentation, more like a movie than a game. And I had my hands on. It felt good to play, but I didn't see any cutscenes. So. Are there a lot of cutscenes? Not like Metal Gear Solid 4, well, because this game is a cutscene. But how many cutscenes do you have in this game to drive the story, this tragic story?
Wow, I have no idea how many there are, but the game is very, very big. The game is probably, for an average to good gamer, will take 20 hours to complete.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a big game. The cutscenes are much, much shorter than you might be expecting. And, you know, over 20 hours of gameplay, when you get to the end and you have a 15-minute cutscene, you deserve that 15-minute cutscene. It's a big game, and you deserve your cutscene.
Yeah. So my last question. I really hope this will be a success. But if it will be a success, a really huge one, is it possible that we see more of the new Belmont? I mean, you have in mind, it could be turn on great sales or feeling right. All right, I have an idea for part 2. Already.
No, I mean it's one of those things that keeps coming up. Actually, I mean, to be honest, everyone's been so focused on this one game. It's been such a labour of love, you know, so much passion and time, and you know, and tears and joy have been put into this one game that no one's really looked past that. You know, we were just so pleased to be given the opportunity to bring our version of this much loved franchise. No one's looked any further than this game. You know, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has, you know, a very, very cool end. We've actually announced a couple of pieces of DLC, which will. There's nothing cynical. They haven't been cut from the game. You know, you're still getting out of the box. You're still getting your full game. But this is just going to be a nice, you know, some nice little extra storytelling for people that enjoyed the game. But yeah, that's you know, as far at the moment, we just want to get this out the door, and we want people to play it. Yeah, 2 days. Then we can have a holiday.
Last year, David said that your original inspiration was the old 8-bit game, the original first Castlevania.
Absolutely, yeah.
I played this since then one time and actually failed at that because it's a very, very hard game. It's a very short game, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So it has nothing to do with modern action gaming. How do you translate the ideas of these old games into such a new one?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Dave was talking about then was more the kind of feel and the atmosphere of those games. You know, they were all about the lone hero, the whip, being lost in this castle or in the forest in those days as well, and fighting supernatural beasts. You know, I think so. Yeah, I think when Dave says that, he's thinking more about the atmosphere and the feeling. But it's funny you should mention the difficulty, because we've got 4 difficulty levels in this game, and the hardest difficulty is going to test the most hardened gamers. I mean, if you can complete that, then you're a better gamer than me.
You seem to have limited the moves compared to some other Castlevania games in the 2D area. We can dig wide jumps, actually fly and stuff. Here it is back to the basics, swinging the whip, jumping. And how do you construct original puzzles around these pretty much known movements?
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. One of the things we wanted to do was we had the combat cross, which is a weapon. We also wanted to be able to use that weapon to traverse the landscape. So if you remember Super Castlevania 4, you know, that was the first time you could use the whip to swing across things, across chandeliers and that type of thing. And that was one of the elements we really wanted to bring to this game. So you can now use your combat cross to swing across chasms, to rappel down, down shafts, to climb up things. That's one of one of the elements from those games. But there are many, many skills that you will unlock during this game. So it's not, the atmosphere is from the early ones, but you're right. We have had to think about modern gaming. When you bring an old game up to date, you have to take into consideration that games these days are very different. You have to appeal to modern sensibilities of the gamer.
What's your favorite power in? Just now that you mentioned it. Maybe one we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, there's a couple you haven't seen yet. There's I'm not sure I want to tell people. I want people to experience these games for themselves. Maybe. Sorry, I'm such a spoil sport. Maybe we're
tease us.
Tease. It's really cool.
That's not teething. That's poking.
That was just terrible. I know. I'm sorry.
Everybody nowadays seems to talk about the paradigm of choice and consequence in games in terms of do I save a villager or do I pass him by and get some other reward or something? Have you actually implemented some of this in your game, or is it completely linear from start to finish, no left, right, nothing?
Yeah, but as far as the story is concerned, it's a linear story. So this is the story of Gabriel Belmont, getting revenge for the murder of his wife and bringing her back, trying to bring her back. So the story is linear. So there was when you set out to tell a story, you're kind of constrained by giving the player too many choices. But that's not to say that there aren't many secrets. There isn't replayability. You can always go back and revisit levels that you've played before. So one of the things about this game is once you complete a level, you'll be given a screen that tells you exactly what percentage of the game, of that level you completed. It'll tell you what gems you found, what items, what relics you found, what you didn't find as well. So as you progress through the game, you might get to a section where you're up against a particularly tough boss, and you think, well, kind of need a bit more. If I had a bit more life, or I had a bit more magic for this, then maybe it would be easier. So you can then go back and you can replay earlier levels. You can go back and say, oh, I missed I missed that power gem. No, I missed that life gem. So you can go back, go and get this life gem. So there is replayability. There is also many secrets. You'll find that as you're playing through the game, you'll get to a section where you can see something, but you can't get to it. So very much like the Metroidvania series of games, you'll go, can't reach that, and you'll be told, come back here when your skills have improved. So you carry on playing the game. You get to you unlock a new skill, and you start thinking, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I can now go back to this level. You can access the next, another part of the level, unlock more secrets and that sort of thing. So I've kind of gone away from your question about consequence, haven't I?
Maybe just a little bit.
Sorry.
So no consequences, no choices in the real sense as far as the story is concerned.
No. It's the story we wanted to tell of Gabriel. Yeah.
On what things did you miss out on this one during the development? What maybe you had an idea you still have in the back of your head, and you said that would have been cool, but maybe it comes in a sequel. Is there something you can tell us about, or is it something that you definitely want to keep to yourself? I think every game that comes out, the producer, the director, there's probably always something which they kind of so didn't quite. What is it?
They didn't quite fit in, but I'm not going to tell you. Sorry. Sorry, that was really rude, wasn't it?
No.
All right.
I was trying to be funny, not rude.
Then I think we can make Feierabend. How we Germans say, it's like off the show, back to the hotel, lay your foot down, sleeping and drink some. Thanks a lot for your time. Was a really, really pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure to speak to you guys.
And I'm really looking forward. Definitely.
Great, thank you. We've been really overwhelmed by how excited people are. I mean, we're excited about it. We love this game.
It's Catlevania.
Hell yeah.